Imagine you wake up one morning, go to your fridge, and find a note taped to the handle. The note says, "Sorry, you have exceeded your weekly allowance of red meat. This fridge will not open until Monday." You try the handle anyway. Locked. You try again. Still locked. You call the company. They say, "Sir, per the terms of the National Dietary Compliance Act of 2031, your spending has been flagged. Your food credits will be restored in 4 days. Have a nice plant-based weekend." You laugh. "That is insane," you say. "That could never happen. That sounds like a bad science fiction movie." And yet, right now in government buildings and central bank boardrooms, in over 130 countries around the world, bureaucrats in gray suits are building exactly that system. Not for your fridge, but for your money. It is called a C.B.D.C, a central bank digital currency. And if you don't know what that is, you need to, because the people who are building it are counting on you not knowing. Today, we are going to pull back the curtain. We are going to look at what a C.B.D.C actually is, what it actually does, and why the people in charge are absolutely desperate for you to think it's just a boring technical upgrade. Spoiler, it is not a boring technical upgrade. It is the most significant shift in the relationship between you and your government since the income tax was invented. I'm Mr. Blobski. My tie is already nervous. Let's begin. Before we can understand what C.B.D.Cs are, we need to go back to basics. We need to understand what money actually is now. Right now, you probably have some money in a bank account. Let's say you have $5,000. Question: where is that money physically? The honest answer is, it doesn't exist. Not physically. There are no $5,000 bills sitting in a vault with your name on them. What you have is a number in a database owned by a private bank. That bank, by the way, is legally allowed to lend out 90% of your deposit to someone else. So the $5,000 you think you have, 4,500 of that is probably funding a stranger's mortgage right now. Your savings are a ledger entry, a promise, a hallucination that only works as long as no one asks too many questions. Now, here's the key thing to understand. Even in this already mostly digital world, there is a gap between you and the government. Your money sits in a private bank. The bank serves you as a customer. If the government wants to seize your funds, freeze your account, or monitor your transactions, they have to go through the bank first. There is a middleman, a buffer, a speed bump. Not a very big one, but it exists. And that speed bump, that small, annoying bureaucratic distance between your wallet and the government's hand, that is what the C.B.D.C eliminates, completely. A C.B.D.C is a digital currency issued directly by a central bank, not by a commercial bank, not by Visa, not by PayPal, directly by the Federal Reserve, or the European Central Bank, or the People's Bank of China. It is digital dollars, euros, or yuan that exist on a government-controlled ledger. Sounds simple, right? Almost boring. The government makes digital money. We already have digital money. What's the big deal? Here is the big deal. Right now, when you use your Visa card, the data about that transaction goes to Visa, then to your bank, and yes, theoretically to government agencies if they have a warrant and jump through legal hoops. There are layers, there are intermediaries, there are obstacles. With a C.B.D.C, there are no intermediaries. Every single transaction goes directly onto a government ledger in real time. The government becomes the bank. Your digital wallet is not at Chase or Bank of America. It is at the Federal Reserve. The state doesn't look over your shoulder through a window. It is standing inside your wallet, holding a clipboard, making notes. But even that is just the beginning. Because here is the feature that turns this from a surveillance tool into something far more powerful. A C.B.D.C is programmable money. This is the part where people's eyes glaze over, and I need you to not let your eyes glaze over. Because programmable money sounds like tech jargon, but what it actually means is this. The government can attach rules to your money. Rules that execute automatically, with no judge, no jury, no appeal. Let me give you some examples, and I want to be clear, these are not hypothetical. These are features that central bankers and government officials have openly discussed, proposed, or already piloted in test programs. Example 1. Expiration dates. The government wants to stimulate the economy. They deposit $500 into every citizen's C.B.D.C wallet. But the money comes with a condition. Spend it within 60 days or it disappears. Poof. Gone. You cannot save it. You cannot invest it. Your only option is to spend it. They have turned your money into a voucher. Suddenly, the government doesn't just control how much money you have, it controls what you do with it. Example 2. Category restrictions. Your C.B.D.C wallet is told by the system that you have already purchased the weekly government-recommended amount of red meat, or alcohol, or fast food, or gasoline. Your money simply does not work at those merchants anymore. The card declines, not because you have insufficient funds, but because the government has decided those funds cannot be used in that way. Your money has opinions now. Example 3. Social compliance. Miss a tax payment? Your wallet is automatically flagged. Your funds above a certain threshold are frozen pending review. No lawyer called, no hearing scheduled. Algorithmic enforcement. Instant. Or imagine a carbon credit system. Your annual carbon budget runs out in October. Every purchase of a flight, a large car fill-up, or a steak gets automatically declined for the rest of the year. Example 4. The geographic lock. Your money only works inside certain boundaries. Traveling to a country the government doesn't approve of, your wallet stops working at the border. No warning, no explanation, just declined. You think this is dystopian fiction? The Bank of England has openly said that a C.B.D.C could have smart contracts that restrict how it is spent. The Bank for International Settlements, which is basically the central bank of central banks, has published papers on programmable features. The Chinese digital yuan, already in circulation, has been tested with expiration dates. This is not speculation, this is the roadmap. Of course they did. Listen to the official reasons given by central banks for why we need CBDCs. Reason 1. Financial inclusion. We want to give the unbanked population access to digital payments. Translation. We want to bring the last holdouts, the people who use cash to stay off the grid, onto a trackable, programmable ledger. Reason 2. Fighting crime. We need to stop money laundering, terrorism financing, and tax evasion. Translation. We want a complete, real-time picture of every financial transaction by every human being on the planet, accessible without a warrant. Cash is used by criminals, yes, but it is also used by journalists, whistleblowers, domestic abuse survivors, dissidents, and people who simply value privacy. When they say they want to stop criminals from using cash, they also mean they want to stop everyone else from using it too. Reason 3. Efficiency. Digital payments are faster and cheaper. This one is true actually, but so is a leash. A leash is very efficient at keeping a dog in one place. Efficiency is not the same as freedom. Reason 4. Better monetary policy. This is the honest one. A CBDC allows central banks to implement negative interest rates directly. Right now, if the central bank sets a negative interest rate, meaning your savings actively shrink over time, you can respond by withdrawing your cash and stuffing it under the mattress. Cash is a jailbreak from monetary policy. A CBDC closes that jailbreak. With programmable money, they can guarantee that holding savings is always costly. Spend or lose, consume or be penalized. You become a perfectly obedient node in their economic machine. This is not a future problem. This is a present problem. Let's look at the scoreboard. China launched a digital yuan, known as the ECNY, in 2020. It is already in use in dozens of cities. It has been distributed as salary payments by government employers. It has been tested with built-in expiration dates. China has no illusions about what this is. It is a state control mechanism with payment functionality attached. The European Union is actively developing the digital euro. The European Central Bank has been running pilot programs since 2023, with a potential launch in the late 2020s. The European Parliament actually voted to include privacy protections, and those protections were largely ignored in the next draft. Funny how that works. India launched a digital rupee pilot in 2022, covering both retail and wholesale transactions. Over 1 million users were enrolled before most people in India had read a single news article about it. The United States is officially exploring a digital dollar through the Federal Reserve's Project Hamilton and various executive orders. The official line is that no decision has been made. The unofficial reality is that billions of dollars in research and infrastructure are being developed. They are building the cage and telling you the door is still open. Nigeria launched the e-Naira in 2021. It was aggressively promoted. The government limited cash withdrawals to force adoption. When people resisted using the e-Naira, the central bank responded by making it harder to access physical cash. That is not a coincidence. That is the playbook. Over 130 countries, representing 98% of global GDP, are at some stage of exploring, piloting, or launching a CBDC. The architecture of the new financial system is being built right now, in real time, while most people are watching cat videos.
Hello guys, this is one of my first videos on YouTube. I'm not here to ask likes or subscription yet. What I really care about right now is your feedback. So if you think something can be done better, except of my English, please let me know in the comments. Your perspective helps much more than you might think. Thank you.
Okay, Blobski, fine. CBDCs sound bad, but I'll just use cash. Problem solved. I love this argument. I wish it worked. But here's the thing about cash. They are already dismantling it. Not dramatically, not with a big announcement. Slowly, quietly, bureaucratically. In Sweden, physical cash transactions now account for less than 8% of all payments. Most shops don't legally have to accept it. Sweden is the laboratory. It's the pilot episode. If cash dies in Sweden and life goes on, the playbook gets exported. In France, cash transactions above 1,000 euros between private individuals are already illegal. 1,000 euros. That is not a large amount. In Spain, the limit is €2,500. In Belgium, $3,000. In the United States, banks are required to report cash transactions over $10,000 to the government. But did you know they are also required to report suspicious patterns of transactions below $10,000? If the bank thinks you're deliberately keeping transactions under the threshold, they report that too. This is called structuring, and it is a federal crime. You can be penalized for using your own cash in a way that looks like you're trying to avoid attention. The war on cash is already well underway. C.B.D.Cs are just the final chapter. When cash is gone, every financial transaction on Earth flows through a programmable, government-controlled ledger. That is the finish line. That is what all the pieces are moving toward. This is where it gets complicated and important. When Bitcoin was created in 2009, it was specifically designed to be a response to exactly this kind of centralized control. Decentralized, no issuer, no kill switch, nobody who can freeze your wallet or program rules into your coins. 21 million coins, ever. The math is the law, not the government, not a CEO, math. And the original promise of crypto is real. If you hold your own private keys, if your Bitcoin is in your own hardware wallet, if no exchange or custodian can touch it, then it genuinely is outside the system. It genuinely is a hedge against what we've been talking about. But here is the problem. Most people don't hold their own keys. Most people buy Bitcoin on Coinbase or Kraken or Binance. Those exchanges are regulated. Those exchanges have KYC requirements. Know your customer. They are connected to the banking system. And increasingly, governments are proposing regulations that would make it illegal to move your crypto off an exchange into a private wallet without documentation and approval. They cannot kill Bitcoin. The math is too stubborn. But they can absolutely kill your access to Bitcoin. They can require that all crypto transactions go through regulated, licensed, fully surveilled exchanges. They can make self-custody legally risky or inconvenient. They can tax it into irrelevance for everyday use. They can make it so difficult to actually spend or move your Bitcoin that it becomes a theoretical freedom rather than a practical one. So yes, crypto, and specifically Bitcoin, represents a genuinely different philosophy of money. But you have to understand, the government knows this, and they are not going to let the escape hatch stay open without a fight. Let's get practical. I am not going to tell you to build a bunker or move to the woods. I am going to tell you what smart, rational people are actually doing to position themselves before this transition accelerates. First, understand what you're dealing with. You cannot protect something you don't understand. Read, watch, listen. The Bank for International Settlements website is public. Federal Reserve research papers are public. The European Central Bank's C.B.D.C roadmap is public. The people building this cage are not hiding it. They are counting on your indifference. Second, diversify out of pure digital fiat. This doesn't mean you need to sell everything and buy gold coins. It means that having a portion of your net worth in assets that are not sitting as a ledger entry in a commercial bank is rational risk management. Historically, that has meant gold and real estate. In the modern era, it also means Bitcoin in self-custody. Third, learn self-custody. If you own Bitcoin, get a hardware wallet. Get a ledger or a Trezor. Write down your seed phrase. Put it somewhere safe. This is not paranoid. This is the equivalent of keeping some cash in a safe at home rather than having your entire life savings in a single bank account. Not because you think the bank will definitely fail, because you understand that concentration of risk is always dangerous. Fourth, use cash intentionally. Every time you pay for something with cash, you are voting. You are maintaining the infrastructure of privacy. You are keeping a system alive that protects everyone. Merchants who accept cash are part of the ecosystem of financial freedom. Support them. Fifth, pay attention to politics. Boring, I know, but C.B.D.C legislation is being written right now. In the United States, there are already bills in Congress both to create a digital dollar and to prohibit one. The outcome of those votes will affect your life directly. This is not abstract. Find out where your representatives stand. This is more consequential than most of the things people vote about. Sixth, talk about this. Share this video. Tell your friends. The greatest defense against a surveillance system is a public that knows it's being built. Mass awareness is the most powerful political force on Earth. The reason the e-naira was resisted in Nigeria is because regular people understood what it was and said no. Your knowledge is not just personal protection, it is collective protection. Here is the thing about CBDCs that I want you to sit with. The issue is not fundamentally about technology. Every era of history has had new technology. The printing press, the telegraph, the internet. Technology is neutral. A hammer can build a house or crack a skull. The issue is about power, and specifically about an ancient question that every society has had to answer. How much power over the individual does the state legitimately hold? For most of human history, the answer was almost total. The king owned you. The feudal lord controlled your land. The guild controlled your trade. Freedom was the exception, not the rule. The great project of the last few centuries, the Enlightenment, democracy, property rights, free markets, was about shifting that balance, giving the individual more power, more autonomy, More protection against the state's natural appetite for control. Programmable money in the hands of a state reverses that project. It doesn't matter how democratic the government is in theory. It doesn't matter how good their intentions are. When they have a kill switch on every economic transaction you make, the power balance has fundamentally shifted. You do not have rights. You have permissions. Permissions that can be revoked by algorithm at any time, for any reason, with no recourse. That is the long game here. Not a single bad government doing a single bad thing, but the creation of infrastructure that makes total financial control permanently available to whoever holds power. Good governments and bad governments come and go. Infrastructure, once built, tends to stay. The question is not, do you trust the current administration with this power? The question is, do you trust every administration that will ever exist for the rest of human history with this power? I want to leave you with this. Every generation has had a moment when a new technology appeared and the people in power said, this will make everything safer. This will fight crime. This will make the economy more efficient. And every generation has had to decide, do we let the state use this technology, unlimited, in our lives, or do we demand boundaries? The printing press was used by both Martin Luther and the Inquisition. The telegraph was used by Lincoln to coordinate the Union Army and by the Confederates to coordinate slave catchers. Nuclear power lights cities and levels them. Technology is not destiny. Our choices about technology are destiny. You are living at the moment when the most powerful financial surveillance and control system in human history is being assembled piece by piece with your tax dollars, with your compliance, and in most cases, with your complete indifference. I am not asking you to be paranoid. I am asking you to be awake. Be awake to what is being built. Be skeptical of the official explanations. Maintain your financial independence wherever you can. Keep some assets outside the digital banking system. Support alternatives. Have the conversation. Because here is the dirty truth about power. It doesn't disappear if you ignore it. It just finds somewhere quiet to grow. Your money is either a tool you control or a leash someone else holds. Right now, it is mostly still a tool. The question is what it will be in 10 years, and the answer to that question is being decided right now. I'm Mr. Blobski. My tie is staying red because somebody around here needs to stay angry. Stay informed, stay free, stay weird. And if you want more videos that the algorithm probably wishes I didn't make, smash that subscribe button. Leave a comment telling me, do you think C.B.D.Cs are coming to your country in the next 5 years? Yes? No? Already here? Let's hear it. Class dismissed.